So this is part 2 of the readings. So I would go to church to challenge the faith of other members. At one point, I made about 100 copies of corpses and I brought them to the church so that the members of the church who believe that God is good all the time, and all the time God is good, could see that it wasn't true. It wasn't truly the case. None of the church members wanted to see them. I didn't tell them what they were. I just said, take a look at these if you think God is good. But they all refused. I presented them to the pastor and he did devote the time to look at them. When he saw them, he became very sad and he said, I surrender to God. I believe that I have a very strong, dark, and powerful presence, and that the church members could feel that, but they never came forward and told me about it. I could tell that whenever I came around, they felt uncomfortable. Around that time, I began to study the Gothic subculture and learned of how we wear black clothes for the respect of the honorable dying and the dead people. And I also learned about our desire to embrace pain. Some of us would self-mutilate and get tattoos. Like myself, I was a self-mutilator. I should say I'm still a self-mutilator because it's a continuing problem, or a continuing disease. So yeah. So and some of us would get tattoos to better become acquainted with pain. I also learned that we like silver better than gold, which I always had. I always loved silver better than gold. So that's another aspect of the Gothic subculture as well that takes place as well. I learned about hunger for morbidity and sad, scary music, and I immediately embraced this way of life and have been a faithful practitioner ever since. Around the same time, I was on the 36 bus, which is 3 6s, you know what I'm saying? 3 6, 36s, 3 6s. So I was on the 36 bus, and I had felt a strong connection to this guy who was also dressed in all black. We kept on making eye contact, so I approached him and I introduced myself to him, and we began hanging out and getting to know each other better. Then I soon found out that he was a Satanist, and I became very intrigued. And he told me all about it, and then recommended I get a copy of the Satanic Bible and the Satanic Rituals books, written by Anton Sander LaVey. So I stole the books from a bookstore in Boston, and I didn't get caught, which I feel was due to Lucifer or the devil. So I started to study very deeply, and I baptized myself in the left-hand path. And I began doing satanic rituals, and I had great results, like getting disability income, helping my comrades of the left-hand path to live more enjoyable lives, because I would do compassion rituals for them, so they would live a better life. They'd live more comfortable, they'd have more sexual encounters, and they'd receive more financial income and stuff like that, or jobs and stuff like that. So I would do rituals for them, and they would become better off in life. I met someone who was a dark poet like myself, who lived in California, 3,000 miles away, and his name was Holocaust, from Wu-Tang Clan, from the Wu-Tang Killer Bees. He's a dark poet, whether he realizes it or not, and I met him due to a satanic ritual, and he moved across the street, and I met him through mutual friends here in Boston. At the time, he moved across the street from my house, or my pyramid. I call it my pyramid. My house is my pyramid. So he moved across from my pyramid and diagonally across, and I met him through mutual friends, through a satanic ritual, though, of course. And I asked for beautiful women to sexually satisfy myself, and I got what I asked for. I cursed my pedophile father, and he developed a tumor in his stomach region and became very ill, so he became bedridden. When the hospital staff gave him the IV to keep him hydrated, the liquid went straight to his testicles and swelled them up to the size of grapefruits. Then he died on my birthday. The reason why his testicles were swollen was because I believe that since I did a satanic ritual against him, a destruction ritual on him, he was killed by his children. So that's the reason why his testicles were swollen, I believe. But I got marijuana as soon as I asked for it. The entities of darkness, as soon as I asked the entities of darkness for it, they gave it to me. I'll get into that in a little bit. I met the Creator God when he appeared to me. When I tried to commit suicide and called the ambulance myself, I was talking to the doctor in a room, sitting across from him, and a table was between us. And behind him, there were these windows. I heard a voice. I heard God's voice saying, "Look at the sun's rays coming in through the window." And as I watched, the sun's rays began becoming more thicker, and it became like a puddle of puddle of rainbow color lights on the ground. Then God rose up out of it, and he was twinkling with many spots of colors, but consisted of mainly a golden white light. He had a crown of white light on his head, and his facial features reminded me of everyone I had ever seen in my life. But the most beautiful features of all of them, and all the people who lived before me, the people who live now, and the people who will live in the future. With extraordinary, beautiful, perfect features, he had two sets of rainbows that were twinkling with light. That was white, but where there were the shapes of clouds in the beginning of the rainbows, and they began at the top of his shoulders and moved crisscross around, up and down his body, like energy force fields. They started at his shoulders, then crisscrossed down his chest, down to his stomach, from his chest behind his chest, then to his stomach behind his stomach, and then to his thighs behind his thighs, then down to his ankles, and then they crisscrossed and went back up around his body. So they kept going up and down his body, and then back to his shoulders. He said to me telepathically, "I am very upset with you. I can cause you great pain in your body that is so intense that no one will know what's wrong with you. I can cause you great pain in your body that is so intense that no one will be able to stop it." I believe he was upset with me because of the fact that he knew that I was on my way to the left-hand path, and the left-hand path is against God's path. God is on the right-hand path, and the left-hand path and the right-hand path have characteristics, or have qualities to them that pertain to the left hand and the right hand path. Like, for example, the left hand path has silver, darkness, black magic, night, the moon. And then the right hand path has gold, has light, has gold, light, the sun, white magic, and goodness and stuff like that. And the left hand path obviously has darkness and has bad, evil, hatred and stuff like that, sadness. But so I believe that's the reason why he was upset with